All right, it's May 4th. So we're going to be reviewing the new Lego Star Wars video game.
It's not actually May 4th. And we're not
It's
reviewing
not it's
it.
not May 4th right now. We're not recording it on May 4th. Because of some conflict in scheduling.
But we prepared.
We've prepared to celebrate this national holiday.
There's also not many movies coming out at the beginning of May that we could release an episode. So we were like, let's just do a rewind on Star Wars.
Yeah, we're gonna do a rewind on Star Wars. I think that May 4th is more of a national holiday than July 4th. That's my take.
Do you think so?
No, I don't think so. But I think that some people might get a little more insane about May 4th.
I think it's a globally more recognized thing.
That's true, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's a ton of crazy Star Wars fans.
Right?
And Star Wars apologists, too.
So, is it more popular than July 4th?
For the sake of this podcast, yes. We're not going to be celebrating July 4th on this podcast. But we will be celebrating.
Are we anti-July 4th?
We're taking
Independence Day.
Yeah, we're taking an anti-July 4th stance on this podcast. America deserves to be under the United Kingdom again.
Yes.
We need to be taken back.
I was thinking for a second when we were watching this movie, it's kind of like reminding me of what we learned in history between the American Revolution and some of those other conflicts with Great Britain. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Why are all of the bad guys British?
That's true.
Or from the UK.
They are British actors. A lot of the weird dudes that say the horribly long and confusing lines in their little room when they're talking about the Senate. They are really, they're British. But
right?
But
or
the
something.
more
I couldn't make out exactly.
The more direct reference is that the the Empire is the Nazi regime. That's the...
Oh, yeah, I forgot that happened.
Yeah, like the stormtroopers are just Nazi soldiers.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah. But anyways, we watch Star Wars here on a Sunday afternoon. And this has been... I think I've seen this maybe 4 or 5 times. I watched it a bunch as a kid, but I haven't seen it in at least a couple years. This movie has a lot of stuff in it that, I did not remember.
Yeah, I think I've maybe seen this once or twice in my entire life, and there was a lot I forgot. I completely forgot that, spoiler alert, even though this is 50 years old, it's sorry, but I completely forgot that Ben Kenobi dies in this film.
Oh, you completely forgot that?
Yeah, I thought it was the next one. And I was like, wait, no, they're on the Death Star right now. They definitely die on. He definitely dies here. But then, it happened, and I was like, oh yeah, that is this movie.
That's kind of the big moment that you're supposed to feel. It's a little sad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It is funny though. I mentioned this to Nico. Luke's parents, or no, not his parents. His
uncle
carers.
and
Uncle and aunt. They died. They are just burned to a crisp, and their corpses are just laid out in the sand.
Yeah, there's just 2 skeletons charred with a few small remains left on them.
Yeah,
that's the darkest thing I've seen in the Star Wars film.
They were just burning. What are those little guys called?
The Jawas.
Yeah, they were just burning a pile of Jawas.
Not a mass grave, but the C-3PO and R2-D2 were just burning them.
Those 2 events, the death of his uncle and aunt, and then the Jawas, they are just unfazed. Obi-Wan and Luke are just kind of brush it off. Let's go kill some people in a bar. They just killed a couple people in the bar too.
No. They said that's where the most villainous of villains go to hang out.
Yeah.
And then that was...
With how much of a kid's movie this is.
For the whole series.
It is violent.
Yeah.
It is violent.
This is the darkest imagery I think I've ever seen.
And I think it gets away with it though because it's goofy. The whole movie is just goofy.
It's bad.
It's the writing is bad.
A New Hope is bad. No, it's okay. The story's not terrible.
The story's not terrible, just the actual dialogue is terrible.
Action, dialogue, all of the acting is pretty atrocious.
I don't think all the acting is atrocious. I think Luke
is terrible.
Mark Hamill.
He's a goober in this film. He's a goober.
That is the only way to describe it.
I couldn't think of anything else.
No, that's actually very...
Did you ever see Anchorman was it Anchorman 1 or Anchorman 2? And there's like this big brawl at the end of the film.
Yeah.
And Kanye West is like, "Hey, that's no fair. He's got a gun." Or it's not a, he's got like a lightsaber or something. He just yells something stupid. And I read a YouTube comment and they're like, "Kanye is such a goober in this film." And I'm like, that's essentially who Luke Skywalker is here.
He does. He just yells out obvious like things. He's like, "Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this," and like, "Oh, we've made a wrong turn." Like,
which it reminds us of a friend or two, but
yeah.
Which that made it funnier for us, but
yeah, no, it was funny. Like,
but yeah, he's just like, "We made a wrong turn. Uh-oh," and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know whether I blame him for the bad like acting or whether it was like just his lines were just terrible.
No matter what Mark Hamill says about the newest Star Wars films, his acting and everything he says in this film is atrocious.
Yeah.
He has little to no room to talk about how bad the other Star Wars films are.
And I don't... Well...
No, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi are fine.
We
but
think. It's been a while. We need
I
to see them
haven't
again.
seen those films in years.
Yeah. But this one I can say, like, Mark Hamill was not great.
He's got no idea.
He was not like, honestly, he was too hard to take seriously. And I guess this movie wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but he looks like a little kid and he acts like a little kid in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, how is this guy the one responsible for just blowing up the Death Star? Because he is. He's the one that blows up the Death Star.
He is, and it's kind of stupid.
He is the new Hope.
He turns off the auto aim, the aim assist.
Yeah.
And he just says, "I feel the Force," and just that's it. And he has no idea what the Force is. He just believes it all of a sudden.
Well, because Obi-Wan tells him to.
Yeah, and he has this deep emotional connection with Obi-Wan dying after meeting him for 2 days.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about his uncle and aunt.
Who raised him his whole life. Yeah, it's a wild turn of events.
It is a wild turn of events. Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie,
it's fine.
It's a fun time with your family or friends.
Yes.
Like, this would be a good movie to watch on May 4th just to be like, hey, let's watch Star Wars.
Yeah, and a lot of people do it. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't go and watch through all of those. Yeah, every single year. Hell no.
Yeah.
But good for you guys if you can.
Yeah, I think the writing for the rest of the series gets better, but like that is for me the weakest point. We kind of started with the negatives here. I think we should get into some positives too.
Sure, but there's many negatives that we can't just gloss over real quick.
The other thing I do want to mention, and we talked about this while we were watching, the version we watched that's on Disney Plus right now, so the version that most people are going to be watching.
Yeah, probably. Unless if you have DVD or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not the original. So, like, I think it's an updated version that they probably upscaled resolution, maybe, and then they added a bunch of CGI into scenes that were previously using practical effects.
I don't even remember if there were those, like, creature, I don't want to call them monster aliens, but, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there were just these big-looking alien space cow things walking around, and I don't remember if those were ever even in the original. Or
they
if
definitely
they just
weren't.
Tossed them in.
They didn't look right. I don't remember them.
If they tried to just cover the original, like, practical models that they had.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was. Even Jabba. Jabba looked terrible.
Oh, no, the Jabba scene was the worst one.
That was so bad.
It's a scene where Han Solo and Jabba are talking, like, outside of the Millennium Falcon, and he just, like, he's walking around, like, clearly the old practical model of the Jabba the Hutt, but the new CGI Jabba the Hutt, like, moves weird, looks bad. I don't know. It's clearly early CGI.
But I don't know if you paid attention. If you looked at Han Solo's eyes where they were looking, they didn't line up with Jabba's face.
And 100%. Even where he was pointing and stuff too.
Yeah, and then he was standing directly on top of it, and they couldn't scale the Jabba model at all, I guess. Couldn't do anything to fix it. Whatever it was.
It was early CGI, and it felt rushed, and it just completely felt out of place. Like, I'm sure the practicals didn't look great for some of those things. That's probably why they made the decision to do it. But
I remember the trench run looked pretty bad the first time I ever saw it. And it still does when you look at, like, the original clip. It doesn't look very good. You can still see some of the blue screen, but that's fine. I understand they're working with what they can.
It's from 77. Like, I don't think...
No.
I didn't expect that part of the movie to hold up, but, like, just the fact that, like, this is the version... Like, I wish they'd have the original version out there, because this is the version that's out there now on Disney Plus for the most easily accessible one, and it's just distracting.
Yeah, we both looked at whatever the CGI elements were in the screen before we actually looked at everybody else on set, and it was distracting. You're right.
It distracts from the dialogue too, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Well,
for this
No,
movie.
that's right. The dialogue wasn't good.
Yeah. Like everyone rails against the prequels for the bad writing, but
This
like
is horrible.
this writing
film
is
itself,
bad.
as far as I remember, this film was bad.
Yeah.
We'll tell
for the writing.
Yes.
Let's get into the positives though. Unless you have any other negatives that you want to bring up.
It's like there are positives, obviously. It's fucking Star Wars.
Yeah.
But if I just saw, as we said, if I just saw this for the first time ever, not knowing anything about Star Wars, this movie didn't hold up at all.
Yeah. I think for me where it does hold up, I think it builds a really good world. Like there's the style of the world is unique. It's a cool sci-fi like fun movie.
Sure, traveling from planet to planet, cool stuff.
And I think the number one thing that carries this movie somehow through its terrible dialogue, like there are still so many lovable characters in this movie. Like the droids C3PO and R2D2.
Those two are fine, but do you think that you like them because you know of the rest of the Star Wars stuff?
I think they're lovable. I think
so?
I think the sort of R2D2 acting like a pet, with its little whining. I think it's cute.
I'm cool with that one.
C3PO is likable too. And I think
Chewbacca's fine
Chewbacca's super likable. And I also want to say Sir Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan is just fantastic. Like he's goofy and he plays into the goofiness, but like he is.
I didn't know he was the one who
lovable.
delivered the original "Hello there."
I didn't remember that either. There was an original "Hello there." Like he was great. Like and clearly, Ewan McGregor drew on that for the prequels. Like drew on this performance, and I understand why. Like I honestly think he's probably the best part of this movie.
You think so?
I do,
Okay.
and then I also think Han Solo. And yes, he just says a lot of cheesy quips, and he's
Harrison Ford
kind
of irked me a little bit, but not as bad as Mark Hamill.
No, I still thought Han Solo just super lovable character, and so was Princess Leia. She's kind of a badass in this movie.
Meh.
I mean, you can see why at the time, especially like she was kind of a sex icon.
She was in Return of the Jedi. I don't remember.
Yes,
I don't remember the other.
She's a strong female character though in this movie. Like that's something that probably wasn't
too
prevalent.
Yeah.
So I got to give him credit for that. Like I think all the characters somehow are just so lovable. The actors are mostly good. Like I think
Mark Hamill for his high reputation I personally have for him as the Joker in the animated series
for everything
and in the
else
video
he's
games.
done.
And plenty of other things that he's done. He was so distracting in this film.
He was. He was the weak point. But the other actors.
Your brother?
There's
There's a guy who looks like Nick's younger brother in one of the shots right before they do the whole trench run scene.
He was just one of the pilots.
He's just one of the pilots
that
sitting
was
in
the
the
best character in the movie.
bottom right corner when they frame Luke and whoever his buddy is who he's sitting next to.
It is so brief. No one's going to be able to find this shot.
If they do, and you know who Nick's brother is, I promise you, it just looks like older, angrier, bowl cut Michael.
He does. Yeah, it's my brother with a bowl cut. But even Luke is a little bit lovable. Yes, he was bad and he was distracting.
Yeah.
But like I think all the characters and they're dynamic with each other. Like Luke, Leia, and Han Solo. Like they are very lovable.
Well, what about like your James Earl Jones, right?
James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. He did a really good job.
I think he really carried this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it sets up a great, like one of the most menacing villains in all of anything.
Theater,
all of film, all of anything. Yeah, he's great. James Earl Jones as Darth Vader is great.
I thought Palpatine was in this. Is he not?
He's not. I think he shows up in the next one, but
does he show up in the next one? In Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, I think he probably does.
Okay.
But yeah, like the costumes are great. The world, they are.
Wait. About the costumes. They have a lot of just stacked bathrobes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the Jedi garb. It's just a bunch of bathrobes and they just run around, which we thought was funny. But yes, everything else looked good.
And the stormtroopers obviously are iconic. Darth Vader's costume's iconic.
Yeah.
The whole Death Star is, the set design is iconic too. Like everything about the look of this movie is like is great. It's great.
Yeah.
And like it does feel like a well-realized world, like original fun world. That's what I gotta say. That's why I think that and the characters are why like Star Wars was able to become such a like massive franchise.
Yeah. I just thought that this being the first Star Wars movie ever made, I thought that they were going to do more explaining in terms of like the Force and Jedi and how they
It's pretty vague, yeah.
They didn't explain any of that. And
Yeah.
I guess that's maybe why they made prequels,
Yeah,
to kind of explain a little bit more of that. But like, I thought there was more in this. I completely forgot about how.
I mean, I think at this point, probably they weren't anticipating making a whole franchise out of this. I mean, I'm guessing they were hoping that, but like, I think they were like, we just got to make a good movie here and hope that it is successful enough to get greenlit for a sequel.
Yeah,
That's my guess.
I guess you're right.
But
there's probably some interviews we could read from George Lucas about it.
But yeah, this is the first Star Wars movie ever. It's the starting point for like one of the most massive franchises in film right now. So
there was no need to have an in-depth lore by any means, but I mean, some explanation would have been nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't. It didn't distract too much from the story though.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who the Jedi are and what is a Sith, but it's fine. You'll still understand it.
Yeah, and it's a fun time. This movie's good. I did like it. The writing was pretty bad, and George Lucas is known for that. But
yeah,
like overall though, I think it was a really fun time, and we laughed at it a lot.
We did,
even sometimes when we were supposed to, sometimes when we weren't. So like, I think that's why it would be like a fun movie to watch with your family or friends or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this has been Star Wars. Do you want to give it a score?
You want to go first?
I can go first. Yeah, I am going to, in honor of May 4th, national holiday.
Are you going to give it a 4?
I'm not giving it a 4. I'm going to give it a 6.9 out of 10.
Wow.
That's my score. This was good. It was not good enough to reach into the 7s for me, just because I think the writing does bring it down a little bit. But like, it's a solid movie. Like it's definitely like a comfort movie, and I liked it. So 6.9 from me.
I think you give it too much credit.
Really?
I don't think Star Wars A New Hope deserves this much credit.
Maybe not on its own. It's hard for me to ignore the context of the movie, and what it's become.
I think only because I know about the Star Wars lore, the Star Wars, just everything, that I'm fine with the movie. I just kind of give it a pass. But like, realistically, this movie didn't hold up at all.
Yeah.
After I just watched 2001 with you recently, I definitely thought 2001 was like miles better than this, and it came out 8 years prior.
Yeah. It definitely did a lot of visual stuff better. 2001 did, which we'll have a review coming out later in the month on that probably.
Yeah,
or a month from
we're
now.
Holding on to that. We'll release that when we come to that decision. But
yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's like you just looked at that film that just came out even earlier, and the visuals looked better. They had some better storytelling, I think.
No, I agree.
The physics made a bit more sense.
Yeah.
Even though that's just minute things I'm complaining about at this point. I didn't think this was a very good movie. I'd give it like a 5.5.
Okay.
It's just like, realistically, I don't think I could watch myself. I don't think I could see this for the first time ever and be like, wow, that was good.
Yeah.
I would just be like,
You may have just offended some people right there with that.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Know.
This is the first movie. I know they redeemed themselves later on, and then Disney kind of shit the bed with the last 3 movies, which we don't have to talk about now, but those were not very good. I don't know if everybody agrees.
They're just unoriginal. I think.
But not only that, like, well, is that spoiling the who the villain is on the final and all?
What do you mean?
Like, I was just about to say, like, you know how the villain just shows up and everybody's like, why the hell is he here?
Yeah, they do. They just reuse the Emperor. Yeah,
I mean, the Emperor.
These movies have been out forever. Even the recent ones. I think the last one was like 2019, maybe? Yeah, 2018.
Okay, yeah. So it's fair.
Yeah,
fair
the
game.
Emperor just comes back. They just
what the hell was that?
They just don't. They just use
said
their characters.
They said that they used Sith magic to keep him alive for like hundreds of years.
And then Rey just becomes the most powerful being to ever live, just out of nowhere, in those movies too. It's just like, I think those movies are just kind of unoriginal and like just mediocre as movies, and then also manage to just piss off the diehard Star Wars fans. So
Yeah.
Like, who were those movies for? I don't know. I think just to sell toys, like have some little cute animals and
You know,
a
they
cute droid.
actually do that. You know, films do that. They
I
just
know.
like do things just so they can sell more toys.
I honestly believe that the recent Star Wars trilogy is somewhat just that.
J.J. Abrams, he did terrible with those 3.
Yeah.
The toys looked cool.
Yeah, there's some lovable characters in those too, but like also it's like you got great actors, so what this movie did and what A New Hope did
It was better than those
for
3.
me
I'll
is
say
more
that
impressive.
for sure.
Yeah. Because this came out of nowhere. It came out of a guy that couldn't write, but he was pretty good at making
A cool world.
a cool film.
Some cool characters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some cool characters, and he
kissed his sister.
He casted really well. Given I think most of these people were unknown. He kisses his sister in the next movie. Maybe we'll talk about that in a year from now. But
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our review from Star Wars or of Star Wars: A New Hope.
So do you recommend seeing this film?
I think I recommend seeing this film
At least one time.
Yeah, see it at least once. I think if you're just if you're a Star Wars diehard fan, I think most people agree that this movie is not that great. I think just from a couple of our friends are really diehard Star Wars fans, and this is not their favorite one.
Yeah, sorry to pee in your bed, but this movie sucks.
It's not my favorite one either, but I think if you're gonna watch it, like just as a casual person, get together a group of friends. If you've never seen it, you have to see this. This is a pop culture.
Yeah, it's one of those.
revelation.
It's one of those things you got to see. It's like the Avengers. Like you got to see it.
Yeah, you got to see it. So get together with some friends, have a good time. Chill out. It's not a movie that you need to take super seriously.
Sure.
I would recommend seeing it in that context.
Sure.
If you're sitting down alone at night and you're like, I want to watch a great film, this is not that. But like, I liked it enough that I can recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Would you recommend it?
No.
No. Like
Really?
not at all though.
I mean, okay. So to the point that you just said, if you're just a casual and just trying to watch a good movie, don't watch this.
But if you haven't seen it and like you're with a bunch of friends, I think you should see this. I
Maybe,
think
why
everyone
not?
should
Yeah.
see this movie.
At least one time in your life, go watch it.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's a fun time, and it holds up decently well. I don't think it's great, but I will say I liked this more than Top Gun.
Yes.
This is better than Top Gun.
Yes. But if you're trying to impress like a girl, or you're trying to impress a guy and go recommend a movie, don't recommend Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a fun date movie though.
It could be.
I wonder if some theaters around here are showing it too.
I hope not.
I don't
Well,
know.
they probably will on May 4th.
They probably will on May 4th. If a theater's showing it and you're like, I want to go sit in a room with a bunch of people and
Go for it.
laugh at this movie, like
Go have
for
fun.
it. Yeah.
Sure.
So those are the contexts I would see it in.
Sure.
Yeah, but I liked it. Nico didn't like it as much.
It was fine. It's just
the writing is objectively horrible.
Yeah.
I will say that. Like this.
I'm
is
just
very
giving it a
bad.
pass because I like the rest of the other Star Wars material.
Yeah,
Or most of the
Yeah.
other Star Wars material. So it's like whatever.
we'll have to give our review of the next movies maybe next year and the year after that.
Yeah, we're just gonna space them out.
This
every
is
May
a
4th.
holiday. This is a new Reely reviews we're celebrating every year with a Star Wars movie.
What about after we run out of the first 9 films? You think they would have renewed the contract with somebody now?
Yeah, I bet you within the next decade there's gonna be another Star Wars movie made.
Okay, do you think they should stop? I personally
Do I think they should stop? Yes.
I think so as well.
I think
it's
if
dead.
If George Lucas is not going to be creatively involved, or some of the people that are involved with the show right now, what's the guy's name who plays Happy? He's in charge of Mandalorian. What's his name?
Oh, Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I think Jon Favreau, and then there's one other guy that people like the Star Wars community really likes. If they make more movies with those guys at the helm, or with George Lucas somewhat creatively involved, that's the only time I would be like, yes, I'm okay with more movies. But if it's just Disney and their Disney people, they fumbled the bag with the previous trilogy.
Well, no, they got their money back.
They fumbled the bag. I think they
Creatively.
alienated a lot of fans.
Yeah, they angered a lot of people.
Yeah.
So if you want good Star Wars material that's new, go watch Mandalorian. Mandalorian's good.
Go watch Mandalorian. It's great.
I didn't see Book of Boba Fett, so I can't speak on it.
I watched Boba Fett. It was not that great, to be honest. But like the last couple episodes were good because they were just basically Mandalorian episodes.
Nice. Okay, so I'll just watch those last couple episodes.
Yeah, sure.
Or Clone Wars. Clone Wars is on Disney+.
Clone Wars is good too. There's a lot of good Star Wars content out there if you're looking to celebrate May 4th, you know. But yeah.
Remember, don't celebrate July 4th.
Don't celebrate July 4th this year. Only May 4th. All right.
That's all.
That's all we got. May the 4th be with you.